Day 50. Yesterday, after I wrote about philosophy and made a talk where I said that I'm gonna renew my philosophical studies, I got on Reddit and found a guy who tried to promote himself there. There were many such guys, by the way, but this one looked almost like me. So I got on his YouTube channel to discover that he has been making videos related to philosophical topics daily for the last 2 months. There were just a few hundred subscribers on his channel, which was a good sign, because I was looking for somebody who I can communicate with, and people who have thousands of subscribers usually are very busy. I watched one of his videos, just a couple of minutes to figure out whether he is gonna be an interesting person to talk to. He made an amiable impression on me. I wrote the following comment and gave myself a little time to think. So here's the comment. Wow, I've just discovered a pretty damn close version of myself. Hey buddy, I think we may have meaningful discussions about philosophy. For 2 months, you've been making videos daily. So did I. Although I haven't been talking about philosophy and philosophers during these days, and mostly tried to study myself, today I shifted my focus and later stumbled upon your channel. So this was a comment. Then I watched the last video made by this guy, which was about the meaning of the title of Nietzsche's book Beyond Good and Evil. The first time I watched the video, I made a few remarks and then watched it again in a kind of relaxed mood. After that, I wrote a comment to begin a discussion. The name of this channel is The Living Philosophy. Now I don't have space to write, so I'll carry on the thought in the video. So now I just want to continue talking about this encounter, which was actually amazing, but it made me think more than necessary. I mean, usually I prefer to control my thoughts, and when there are more thoughts than I may process, I like to stop certain activities just to, not to get mad. And yesterday, after I started writing comments and communicating with this man, I started thinking too much. And it wasn't, by the way, it wasn't a negative thinking. It was extremely positive, interesting ideas, which were kind of models of future conversations and what can be done out of these conversations and how it can help me to engage in philosophy. Since my goal now is, like my prime goal, let's say, is to focus on philosophy and read those books which I read when I was reading in Russian. I couldn't maintain a meaningful conversation about philosophy since I can maintain it, but I don't like to maintain it in this way, since all my thoughts related to philosophy are mostly in Russian, and it was exactly one of the things which made me to shift from Russian to English and to start thinking in English. I was overwhelmed with thoughts. I had read like 10-15 philosophers deeply, like 5-10 volumes. Hegel, Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, Fichte, Feuerbach. Well, I read Hobbes. Who else? I don't remember. Well, I read Russian philosophers like Belinsky, Dobrolubov, and Pisarev, and Russian classical writers who are well known in West, like Dostoevsky, Turgenev, Tolstoy. But that's beyond the point. So I shifted to English because there were so many overwhelming thoughts. I was thinking about philosophy all the time, and I couldn't find anybody to talk to about philosophy, since in my environment people usually are busy with their work, with their families, and philosophy requires like profound, deep immersion into, let's call it, into linguistic world. And I decided to shift because it like had kind of negative impacts on my life. I wrote daily at that time in Russian, and the last work which I made was an hour thinking. During 60 days, I was writing daily, thinking about philosophical topics, and then I discovered that nobody understands me, and it was kind of sad because I didn't want to promote myself at that time and post all my writings on different social platforms to engage in the conversations with people. I didn't want to talk to people. I wanted to read philosophy and write about it, but it was overwhelming. So I shifted to English and started thinking like almost from the beginning. I started growing a new personality in me, and this personality which I had in Russian, it was basically introverted thinking type when I preferred to be with myself, read books, focus on my daily routine, do certain exercises to support my thoughts. I mean, you can think 16 hours a day. So I was like thinking and reading and writing for 10, 12 hours a day, and for the next 4 hours I was doing martial arts and various sorts of gymnastics, yoga, meditation, just to keep my body strong and not get mad. So then I shifted to English and started thinking in English, but thinking in English, it was so childish, so I couldn't actually think about philosophy because I haven't read books, and my terminology, my vocabulary wasn't sufficient to talk about philosophy. I started reading books, but I couldn't, like in Russian, we have a library in our city, and in this library there are a lot of books which I can just go and take and read for free. And I'm a kind of minimalist, so I don't have money to buy, for example, collected works of Schopenhauer or some English philosophers like Hume, Locke, who else? Hume, Locke, Berkeley. Yeah, it's very hard for me to read books from the internet. Now I'm progressing towards reading at least 1 hour a day from the internet, but it's not enough. So in Russian, I could take all these books in library and read them, but in English we don't have such a rich library here. We still have it, but I couldn't find any philosophical works, and I was reading books. Well, one of the series of books which I read was Union books. It was psychological types, development of personality. I don't remember their titles. It was like 2 years ago. I can check them out, but again, it's not. There were 4 books which I read, and the only one of them made an impression on me. It was Psychological Types, and I wanted to reread it, but then I just I abandoned this idea because there are so many other books to read. So, and I can't talk about philosophy in English since I don't want to make it superficial. If I want to talk about philosophy, I want to talk about it as as I can talk about it in Russian. And I haven't actually. I wanted to study philosophy more, but since I started working on my English, there was another purpose. I was leading this English-speaking club in my city, and to develop this club, of course, I couldn't think about philosophy and talk about philosophy. And even though I tried to make it a little bit philosophical, it was still very superficial. So our themes, I tried to talk about themes like power, psychology, change, evil, past, future, attention, memory, imagination, beauty, philosophical topics, justice, freedom. And still it wasn't like I didn't feel free talking about these topics because people mostly didn't understand it. They thought it's very complicated topics and there's nothing to say about it, and mostly I gave people opportunity to talk and didn't say much like my thoughts, even though sometimes, of course, I tried to develop them, but it never worked. So as soon as I started talking about something which were important for me and which I wanted to discuss with people, I noticed kind of negative feedback. So people weren't listening to me. They weren't focused on what I was talking about. And usually I dropped it, and almost always I said like, okay, guys, let's just talk about something simple. And I had to study a lot of this simple vocabulary and watch lots of videos. And there was another deep theme or area dimension which I covered since I started studying English. I was studying motivation a lot. So I watched a lot of videos about motivation. I read books. I was writing about it, how to motivate yourself to study like more and more to get serious results, how to focus on the process and don't care about the goal, how to find an amazing goal and don't care about the process. And in general, it's like it took me 4 years. Now it's 2021, and I started writing in English the first time at the November of 2016. So, but actually I shifted to thinking in English and writing daily in English at the May of 2017. So it's almost 4 years to get to this point. And now I feel strong desire to immerse into philosophy. I mean, I want to study it. I want to read the same books which I read. Even though now I'm still reading. For example, I have an exercise. Writing exercise. So daily, I, not every day, but well, couple of days a week, let's say, I rewrite the books, but some books. The first wasn't even a book, it was an article by Tim Urban, this famous guy in the field of motivation, procrastination. Yeah, he was talking, the article was Neuralink and the brain magic future, and I rewrote it, and it's like on my shelf. But this book, it's like Beyond Good and Evil, and I'm rewriting it, and I got like 198 aphorisms. So it's almost half of the book, and now I can talk about concepts related to Nietzsche's framework, but it's so superficial, and I don't like it. Like I want to talk about philosophy, but I don't like to make it profane. I don't like to vulgarize like brilliant philosophers and to vulgarize, like to appear superficial myself, because I was doing it like consciously, deliberately for many years, reading lots of books, studying all themes. And for me, philosophy, it's not like, even though I was reading a lot, but reading is also an activity. I was mostly focused on my lifestyle. So for me, philosophy and Nietzsche and, Schopenhauer, Hegel, they all helped me to understand myself, what I want to do, how I want to do that. And Nietzsche, well, I'll talk about it a little bit later. Now as you can see, I already don't have time. There's just a few minutes, and I limit myself with 15 minutes because it's very important. If I just allow myself talk for more, I'll just talk endlessly. I might just start talking, and it's going to be like hour, 2 hours, 3 hours long, and it's what's going on in my mind all the time. That's why I'm trying to, teach people at my English speaking club that you have to learn how to think. Since if you learn how to think, this is what's going to happen with you. You'll just think in English all the time, and you will think about things related to your life. Yeah, but of course there should be a certain means by which you may control your thoughts. And for me now, it's very important. Again, it's another theme that bothers me. I want to focus on thinking, but not as like, I don't want to think for 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day. And it's always novel and original thoughts. And like before starting this video, today I did morning routine, my morning exercise for 2 hours. And there were like maybe 15 different ideas which I wanted to cover in this video. And eventually I said to myself, stop, I'm not going to do that. I'll just talk about my routine. That's how it's going to be. And then I'll put in my routine most important things which are here at this moment. Because every original idea So you think about it, there's a train of thought which goes on for half an hour, and think that's great. If only I can retell it to the camera. And then you start talking to the camera, and it's not the same idea. It's not only original. It doesn't feel good. It's like something stupid. So original ideas must be made, must be created exactly at this moment when you make a video. And for me, it's a kind of obstacle. So I want to stop thinking about philosophy and these speeches at the time when I do something else. When I do gymnastics, when I do martial arts, when I do physical exercises, I want to focus on them instead of thinking, what would I say next time when I make a video? And now again, as I said, I have many, like 10, 15, 20 ideas in few hours about the video. And it bothers me a little bit. Now I'm learning how to control it. So instead of just thinking about philosophy all the time, I want to create a certain space, like certain frame, 15, 20 minutes a day of talking, and mostly focusing on researching. So I'm gonna read. I guess I would like to start from Schopenhauer and reread his aphorisms of life. I don't know the exact translation. I don't even think that this book is translated. Essays on living of wisdom, probably. I don't know exactly, but I'll read it and then we'll see what's going to appear to my consciousness and how I'm going to talk about it. Now I must finish this. Like my time is limited. See you next time. Bye bye.